With 2 vaccines waiting for approval from the Food and Drug Administration, business leaders across the country are weighing how they will structure their messaging when it comes to the COVID-19 vaccine and their workforce. A new CBS MoneyWatch article examines if your employer can force you to get vaccinated and just how much influence a company might have over an employee's decision. Let's bring in the author of that article, Megan Cerullo. She joins us now. Megan, is it legal for companies to require employees to get a vaccine?
Hi, Omar. Generally speaking, it is legal for a company to require its employees to become vaccinated. For example, the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission already allows employers to require that their employees get the flu vaccine with an asterisk. They must, however, make exceptions for certain employees under the Americans with Disabilities Act and under Title VII of the Civil Rights Act.
Is there any specificity you can give us on who would be exempt?
Sure. So an employee with a medical condition that makes it unsafe for them to receive the vaccine can request an exemption under the Americans with Disabilities Act, and their employer would be required to provide a reasonable accommodation, for example, allowing them to work from home. And that's a pretty easy, that would just require an employee getting a note from their doctor. Employees with sincerely held religious beliefs, for whom it's against their religion to become vaccinated, can also request an exemption under Title VII. The threshold is higher there because they don't want people coming up with bogus religions when it's not something they sincerely believe in.
If an employee does get the vaccine, could companies be held liable if the vaccine later turns out to be ineffective and that employee gets sick?
Sure. Lawyers expect there, first of all, to be a push to insulate companies from liability. Secondly, they won't be the ones administering the vaccine. So your boss isn't going to be, giving you a shot. A third care, a pharmacy like CVS or a healthcare provider will actually administer the vaccine. And any claims would likely be funneled through workers' compensation programs because it would likely be considered an on-the-job injury. So that's not really something that employers need to worry too much about.
I'm sure companies who don't employ frontline workers are watching the frontline worker companies that are going to have this. Will this set a precedent for what employers can require the employees to do in the event of another worldwide disease and a different vaccine?
Well, the precedent's already been set with the flu vaccine, which is why the EEOC is expected to issue similar guidance vis-a-vis the COVID-19 vaccine. And in the case of another worldwide pandemic or disease, the EEOC would also have to issue separate guidance.
Interesting. Is requiring a vaccine going to end up being the best solution? Or is it going to be better if employers kind of coax their workers or add incentives for them to get it?
So initially, because the vaccine will first become available under emergency use authorization, so it won't have gone through all the usual rounds of approval, it's really unlikely that employers will actually require workers to become vaccinated. What we're likely to see more of is sort of positive reinforcement and companies incentivizing employees to get the vaccine and offering them bonuses or gift cards, for example, because no one wants to work it just won't engender goodwill toward a company if you're being mandated to do something. So companies are really going to aim for voluntary compliance before they have to make it mandatory.
Well, it's definitely going to be interesting to see as this vaccine starts to roll out and people start getting it. I mean, we've heard the president and we've heard former presidents of both parties say they're willing to get the vaccine on camera to show it Dr. Anthony Fauci too. So it will be interesting in the next few weeks. Megan Cerullo, thank you very much for your time.
Thanks, Omar.